Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. So today it's part 2 of my 3-part series looking at this package which arrived from the UK from Cult Pens. Last time we looked at the inks, the notepads and the accessories that were in the box. This time we're going to take a look at one of the pens, and this is the Laban 325. So join me down on the mat and let's dig into this box. So welcome down to the mat. So here we go, let's fetch the box in. So this box is from Laban. It's really quite plainly packaged, isn't it? Here we can see it's Laban Cambridge. But other than that, that's all there is written on there. We'll slide it off. Oh, now look at this. Now we're talking, aren't we? This is a lot nicer to look at. So Laban, refill your soul by writing. Love that byline. And we come down and we've got, well, it looks like it's got some pens in there. Let's just quickly turn the box over just so we can look around it. Got their website on the bottom. And up at the top, we've got nothing. And look at that. I managed to throw out a bit of a sticker. Never mind. We've got this drawer. This drawer will slowly come open to reveal this gorgeous pen. Let me turn that around. It's got, on this nice pad, it's well secured. We've got this orange bit of ribbon. Just going to lift the pad out. Underneath, we've got our instruction book with our guarantee. There we go. We can see how it is. And then we've got them in different languages. So really nice, lets you know what's happening. We've got this, looks a bit like a bookmark to me. And then anything else in here, we've got the silica thing that keeps everything dry. Let's pop that box off to one side. We'll fetch the pen back in on its bed. And then I'll slowly ease that out. Move the bed away. Now here we can see the pen. So as I said, this is a Laban 325 and the colour is called Cambridge Brown. Let's take it out of the protective wrapper. We can start to take a closer look at this. So here we have it. I'll fetch this in. I'm going to pop that onto the pen rest. This, to me, it looks nicer than what it looked like on the website. It's got this gorgeous colouring. I would say it's more like a chestnut brown. Then in the body, as I turn it around, we've got like swirls there. A bit like chocolate swirls with vanilla ice cream, isn't it? There's a little bit of chatoyancy. Hopefully the camera can pick that up and catching it. Oh, there. Look at that pearly colour there and how it's reflecting my lights. We come back around. Again, we've got a bit of a creamy colour there. Bit of an orange as well. And we come back to the front. Let's take a look at the top. At the top, it's a rounded end. Let me see if I can get this into focus on the camera. There we go. And it's got this brown badge on the top. Feels quite nice. Coming down, we've got these rings. The bottom of the 2 rings has got the clip. Yeah, that's fairly stiff, but should still fit over my shirt pocket quite nicely. Coming on down the cap seems to be the same width, or even maybe just a slight taper out. We come to this gold ring here. There we've got Laban. And that's all we've got. The rest of it is blank. Bottom of the cap, it tapers down, so there's not a big step. You can feel it going down, but it's not one of those big step downs that we get on some pens. That then comes to the body. There we've got 2 gold rings. Got that gorgeous material we've just looked at. Another gold coloured ring. And then at the end, again, we've just got that domed end. Let's take the cap off. So that's half, 1.5 turns to take the cap off. And that reveals this gorgeous gold coloured steel nib. Really like the look of this nib. That's really good to look at. So the nib, it's a gold colour with a really nice scroll work around the side. And then engraved in it, we've got 395S. Underneath that, we've got Laban. Under that, Germany. And then we've got B because this is a broad nib. I would have preferred it if it was one of those dual tone nibs because I quite like them. But even so, it's still nice. The nib then comes into the brown coloured section, so that material colour flows all the way through. The section, a little bit on the narrow side, but it's not uncomfortable. The pen, when I hold it, again, nice size. It's one I don't think I'm going to need to use posted. Will it post? Well, it does, but it feels a bit clumsy. And I've got to be honest, it feels massively back heavy when I've got it posted. So that's something it may just need to get used to. But as I say, I reckon I don't need to post it. It looks quite nice. So the section has got a very small lip on the bottom. Now this is one of the things that I find sometimes these lips can be very sharp on my fingers. This one is wider than most, so hopefully it won't be a problem. As we come up the section, you can see there it's coming out. Then we get up here to the threads. Let's unscrew the section. Well, that's interesting. The section unscrews below the threads. So the actual part which comes off is only maybe 3/4 of it. So that's something different that I haven't seen in any other pens. And inside, we've got the included converter. Yes, it's a pen with a converter. It's got the mark of Laban on there. It's a nice silver colour. Seems to go up and down quite nicely. Nice and well lubricated. Isn't it nice when you get a converter in with your pen? You pop that back together. I'm going to fetch in some other pens so we can do a size comparison. I'm going to fetch in the first one, which is the Pilot Metropolitan. Definitely a bigger pen, isn't it? The Lamy Safari. Definitely longer and, to be honest, girthier. Then the final pen I'm going to fetch in is a Jinhao 159. Very similar lengthwise, and I would say the 159 is a girthier pen than that Laban. I'm now going to step away. I'm going to clean out the pen. When I come back, we'll take a look at the ink, link it up, and do our writing sample. So I'm back. So we're going to take a look at the ink now. The ink is by Diamine, and it's called Diamine Ochre. Now, on the camera, this looks very orange, but when I see it, it's more of that chestnutty brown. If I fetch the pen over, yes, the brown parts are a lot darker, but then where we see these orange bits, that's more tending towards this ochre colour. So I think this will be a good match. Oh, I love that pearlescent. I really do love this pen. Love the colour of it. But I say that about most pens, don't I? Right, let's fill it up. First thing I'm going to do is fetch in my koala. Why do I fetch in the koala? Because I'm going to stand my ink in it. There we go. Ochre. Let's take the lid off. And let's see how this pen fills. So as we saw earlier on, it's a cartridge converter. I've cleaned it out. Cartridge plunger is right down at the bottom. So let's draw that first lot of ink in. I always take it down again and do a second fill just so I do the best I can to get a really full converter. And look at that. That's virtually full. Most converters that I get, granted most of them are Chinese ones, they don't seem to fill all the way up that first or even second time. But this one, you know, that's all the way up to the top. That's done really well. Let's pop the body back on. Cap. So leave that there to sit for a second while I get this ink out of the way before clumsy Gary knocks it all over the place. So let me just fetch in my book. So here we go. So as always, I'm using this. This is the Optic paper from Oxford. Really nice fountain pen friendly paper. Straighten it up a bit. And let's try writing with this beauty. So what have we got? We've got a Laban 325 with a broad nib. The ink by Diamine. It's called Ochre. Now, I'm not sure how much this comes over the camera. I'm seeing an awful lot of shading coming through just on this. I would say there's not a single letter where it's a consistent colour all the way through. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. Let's look at our drying times. So we go immediate. Looks quite wet, doesn't it? Remember though, it's a broad nib. We'll wait for 10 seconds. Doesn't seem to have dried off all that much. 30 seconds. Yep, that's certainly starting to dry now. Lastly, 1 minute. After a minute, there's still a fair bit of wetness there. It's a broad nib, so we've got to bear that in mind. So if I was going to be using this for note taking, I'd have to be careful if I'm going to be doing multiple pages, because look at that. It's just really wet still. For my next test, I'm going to bring the mic down to the paper so you can hear me right. You can hear it writing. There's definitely that sound coming through. On the paper, it feels very smooth. There's not a lot of feedback coming through the pen and into my hand. So like a lot of pens where you can feel your writing, this one, it's just there. It's not like writing on glass. So there's a definite little tiny bit of feedback, but not that much. It's nice. It really is nice to write with. Again, look, you can see all this shading coming through in the letters. I love it when you see character in your writing. This to me is one of the beauties of the fountain pen and the inks, is being able to find that right combination which really lets you fetch out that character and really fetch some interest into what you're writing. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to literally rest the pen in my hand and draw it across the paper. So there's absolutely no pressure at all now on that nib. And that's writing really nicely. So you don't need a lot of pressure to get the pen to perform. So yeah, nice writing experience. So what are my final thoughts on this pen? I love it. I love the colouring here in the barrel. And I'm ever so glad that they didn't do that through the whole pen, because I think it would have looked just too busy. I mean, just look at that. You know, I'm loving it, the way that we've got all those different colours and the different reflections coming through. In the hand, it's nice to hold. It's not too heavy. As we saw, it will post, but to me, it's too back heavy. It's not comfortable when posted. But unposted, yeah, it's not too bad. The nib, it's a steel nib. It's got that gold colouring. I would have liked to have seen the silver or the steel colouring around the edge, just to fetch a little bit more interest to the nib. It's a nice size nib. This isn't broad. It's a nice smooth writing nib. Really enjoying that writing experience with this. The pen cost me 146 Australian dollars. So yeah, it's not a cheap pen. Is it a pen for everyone? Again, I don't think it is. I think you've got to like these heavier pens, whereas, you know, a lot of pens, they're fairly light. Do I like the business of it? Yes, I like this. I like the colour. I'd be happy to take this into meetings. All in all, really nice looking pen that I'm looking forward to spending more time with and getting to know. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What do you think of the Laban 325? Do you have one of these pens? Is it a pen that you'd consider getting? Why not drop a comment down below? Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button, give the video a like. Remember, every time you like, every time you comment, well, it just helps to feed the YouTube algorithm and surface the content for other people. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.